the biggest non-secret secret there is down here, I think. Well, hello, my name's Justin. I lived here in Marathon for just over 9 years. And one really cool thing I've gotten to stumble apart to be a part of is I get to be an elf during Christmas. And for those people that have been here for a while, and now the whole world knows because of old social media, every year somehow magically Fred the tree on the old 7 Mile gets decorated for Christmas. And I've been lucky enough to be part of it for several years. It's the biggest non-secret secret there is down here, I think. I noticed it, I think maybe the second or third year I lived here, but there's a tree that grows on the old 7 Mile bridge. I can't exactly remember who named it and where that lore came from. I think I know the people who did name it, but I just don't remember the story, so I won't embellish too much. But the tree's called Fred, and it has been growing on the old 7 Mile, I assume, since the late 80s, whenever the new bridge got built and everything started going, 90s, whenever that happened. But it's grown huge, and it's one tree amongst 6-7 miles of just concrete. And so a few years ago, people decided, like, it would be really cool if we could decorate that tree for Christmas. And they asked and got denied because it's not safe. And, you know, the city or FWC, whoever it was they asked at the time, said it wasn't safe. So, you know, they got on the phone with Santa and they figured out a solution, and it was to, you know, have some elves kind of sneak onto the bridge and do the decorating for them. And it worked. So, you know, it started off with just like a real simple decoration. And then these elves have decided year after year, like, well, let's do a little something else. Let's get a little bigger into it. They had a real big problem with lighting was the biggest thing. The first couple of years, I don't think they had lights at all. And then they did lights, but then the lights would go out, or a strand would go out, or they'd have something bad. And finally they decided that like solar power would be a smart way to go about it. And so there's actually this really ingenious little electrical setup, this all solar powered. We have to drag the huge 50, 60 pound batteries, you know, with roving carabiners up on the old bridge every year. But so all the lights that you see are actually powered by solar power. And, you know, as you go, and for those that have, you know, seen it for years or follow it on Facebook, it's got its own Facebook, Fred the Tree, I believe. It gets a little bigger and bigger and bigger. It's absolutely unsafe to go up there. We are very careful. It's not like a big party. As people go up there, we get the work done, we finish, we go down. So it's definitely not recommended. But we, you know, the elves actually talk with local law enforcement, with FWC. Everyone's aware of what's going on. And so it's something that the community enjoys, and you have the full community support. We did have a beautiful new piece this year that was this ornate mermaid angel, and it took a ton of time just to figure out how to hang the floodlights on it. More time than it took to get everything done. But it was a beautiful addition, and those that know the story behind that, it was very heartfelt and meaningful. It took us as long to figure out and to hang like the lights, the floodlights that lit that up, as it did to do the entire bridge. Because there's nothing. So we crossed one, you know, 100-pound test mono from the tree and had it like bouncing off to the other side where one of the other decorations are, and happens during the day. And oh yeah, and that's the crazy thing, is that it's, you know, we do it during the day, and so everybody coming down the 7 Mile bridge, they see it happening. And so it's worrisome because people start slowing down, and they'll slow down, they'll be honking the horns, and it's like, oh, hey, but after like the 40th wave, it's like, gosh, we're literally stopping traffic on 7 Mile. You know, there's got to be somebody really upset. And but they do. They drive by all day. They honk the horns. They yell. You'll get text messages. See you on the bridge. You're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It takes about 4 to 5 hours, give or take. And there's a few of the elves that do a ton of work, and there's definitely some elves that are support. You know, so like sometimes if everybody kind of works a little bit better, it goes up quicker. Every time they add something new or try something different, There's always one string of lights that don't turn on, and they got to figure that out. The tree does grow, so there's some times where very minor trimming needs to be done in order for stuff to go up. There's there might be a person who took down. We had to take down a part of it a couple years ago, and that might have been their Christmas tree in their house down in Big Pine. I don't know who.
Right.
Yeah, so 4 to 6 hours. It takes about 3 to come back, because usually the people coming back, it's not as exciting, it's not as fun. You're not in the Christmas spirit. Now it's just like, it's January, I gotta be back at work in an hour, So you go up there and it's a little more, get everything going, knock it down, get going. But the fun part is that it's all weather dependent. You could say it's on a Wednesday, and then depending on the weather, this year there was a movie being filmed, and somehow it had was a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. A little nervous about it, that they're redoing Roadhouse and Jake Gyllenhaal's playing the lead, but I don't think that's what this story's about. But either way, they when they got permission to actually do the filming on 7 Mile Bridge of Fred the Tree, which is apparently the kind of themed story piece behind the movie. So I guess one person standing tall amongst the elements, or however they're going to spin it. But either way, so they had the filming done, and it's usually after the elves have gone and put the tree up. So they literally had to get someone to contact, the head elves and the ones that organize everything, and they literally asked permission. Like, they're actually kind of cool about it, as far as I know. I'm not the head elf at all, but it was like, okay, yeah, no, go do your filming, and so we had to back it off by like a whole week. And yeah, and now at least Fred's in a movie and he's famous. I actually got a really funny story from this past year that I wanted to share with everyone. So we're going there. It was a little breezy day. It wasn't too bad, a little bumpy, but not too bad. Get first 2 little ninja elves to actually rope up onto the bridge and be able to get this huge ladder that they've built, and they'd welded on pegs to it. So they actually throw it over the side to the old columns, and it rests right on the column. And for some reason, I got to be the first one up this year. Had to grab some stuff, some roping stuff, carabiners, big old backpack, and I just happened to be on the bow of the boat. So they were like, hey, come on up first. And we bounced our way on up there, hop onto it, and it's not the newest of ladders to begin with, and I'm not the smallest of humans to begin with, but I've done this for years, but this time, for some reason, they didn't put the ladder down exactly in the right spot, and the one leg kind of came off the side of the column. So as I started to climb up, it started to rotate to the right. And I just felt myself going in. Again, I'm a big guy, so inertia plays a big factor in my life. And so I'm there, and I freeze, and I just start looking, and I can see that the little leg fork had gone off the column, and I kind of freaked out a little bit. And as I felt it kind of go, I'm like, I'm falling in. So I look down at the water, and it's not like if I fall. I'm like, all right, I'm about to get wet. Where's the safe place? Because there's debris down there. There's old parts of the bridge. I want to jump safely. And the whole time, everybody else that's part of this is like waiting on me to get up so that we can start getting everything up there. And they're laughing. I have a real good friend that's really making fun of me, videoing me, calling me a koala bear. He's like, come on, koala, why aren't you making it up the bridge? But what they couldn't see is that the entire ladder's twisting, and the poor 2 skinny guys at the top are on the other side trying their hardest to keep the ladder straight, and I probably weigh both of them combined. And so it wasn't working, and I literally had to get to the right side of the ladder and teeter my big old butt up, and I didn't fall in, thank God. But it was the scariest thing I've ever done. And get to the top, they're like, Justin, we didn't know you were scared. And it's like, I'm not scared. It was falling in. They're like, I know, we saw that later. And it's like, gosh. And we literally moved it so that everybody else had a nice, safe little way up. And, as people came up, they're like, oh, it seemed much easier than when you did it, But it was one of those things. There's only been one person to ever fall in the water. And I didn't want to be number 2. And ironically, the one making fun of me was the only one that ever fell in. That had absolutely nothing to do with equipment, a whole lot to do with his particular choice of hydration for the day. But yeah, so that's about one fun story. Getting to be a part part of the elf, part of the tradition down here in the Keys. It's pretty awesome. And I got to come in right after Hurricane Irma. So for me personally, it was like super, super cool to be a part of something, especially as this community started coming back together and there had been so much tragedy and heartache, but also I saw so many more great things come out of the people. It made me feel like I became part of the community, this whole hurricane. And then getting to be part of that, it was really excellent because a lot of people liked that little bit of the old tradition, the bringing everything back, kind of like how it was, take your mind off of it for a moment. And so we got to go up there and someone made this really big Keys Strong sign. They chose metal, and while it looked wonderful, it's very heavy. We had it up that first year, and now it comes back up every year. There's a couple of restaurants in town that kind of had it outside when it wasn't part of the Christmas decorations. All of the elves' names are signed on the back for that particular year. It's really cool because it's the same core group of people. Every year, a couple of new elves come in, a couple of elves, go out, which I think is neat because to be able to actually get to experience that and it's amazing. But it is no little feat. Like it's not quadruple safe up there, so it's definitely it's definitely something good. I wish we could make the old 7 Mile a little more structurally sound so that this can last forever. But they'll keep putting it up every year until they can.